Hey guys, welcome to this week's episode of Go Bold or Go Home podcast. And today I'm going to start, before we get into the standings, where I see each team and previewing the matchups this week, I'm going to start by addressing Dylan. The reason that I trash your team so much is fun fact on the weekly pick'ems, and Steven caught this. I would consistently pick your team. And every time I picked your team, you have lost. And every time I haven't picked your team, you have won. And that annoys me. Plus, now, after all your injuries and recent moves, I think you might just miss playoffs. So I'm going to stand by that. And I will probably be the heartbreaker when we play week 9. So be ready for me to win that $10. All right, moving on. So let's look at our standings. At the top, no surprise, you got me. And then you got the team that, as Colton says, I've been raving about, which is his team, because I love Colton's team. Now, right under that, we do have Aaron, but Aaron is also in a major tie. If it wasn't for the actual tie he has, it would be a four-way tie right there. Five-way tie, actually. So we have a very competitive league this year. But again, Aaron, you're on top of that with your point differential. But I do think your team is starting to slip a bit. Patrick Mahomes has been struggling, uh, which I actually know that's Ben's team. Sorry, I am asleep. It's at 6 in the morning, something like that. Before work, let's look at Aaron's team. Oh, yes, it doesn't help that, you know, Washington has been a dumpster fire when everyone thought them to be good. And that's hurt that Patrick Mahomes been struggling because the whole Chiefs struggle when he struggles, aka Travis Kelsey. But I will say, once Devontae is over the cold slash COVID, you should be good. You're still going to make the playoffs. No worries right there. Now, let's go back to our standings. You're going to see me jump a lot today. All right, so looking in on Andre's team. Andre, I think you're going to end up either first in or last in and you're first out with the playoffs too, because you're just right in that middle pack range with your team. Um, I know you've had some tough losses of late as well, though that win against Dylan was very entertaining. So good job on that. This week, I don't know if that's going to happen for you, but we'll get into all that later. Now, Gritty Hates Pancakes, aka Dylan, he changed his team name again because he could. And, again, I liked your team at the start of the season. I did. And you can check week 1 episodes. I actually did say you were going to be the most improved team. So I also say it was between you and Colton, and Colton is the most improved team from last year. I will say that your team, the injuries really killed you. I mean, not more than some of the people on this list, but they have definitely made it tough on you. And you've been trying to fill those holes, but if they don't get back soon, I think it's going to be tough because you have also a hard strength of schedule remaining for you. Okay, now going to Hayden's team. I think Hayden's team should be higher. It feels weird saying it because, like, I know he started the season with the Baltimore running back, quadruplets it felt like, but I feel like it's just underperformed, and more as his team has gone up against some powerhouses in the early parts of the season. So we'll see how it goes at the end. I think though he's got a solid build team. Now, this will be my sleeper team for the playoffs. I think Steven has made some amazing moves in by trading Kamara and getting 2 top 15, top 10 running backs. That was a steal, in my opinion. And we're seeing it as he put up 120 points last week. and he is now going to be very competitive and try and sneak into that spot. So actually, I will say it now. Steven is going to bounce Dylan out of the playoffs this year. So keep your eye on that. Now, going with Ben. Ben has had an unfortunate team. I mean, let's look at this. Patrick Mahomes has not been Patrick Mahomes, which always hurts. I mean, he's had to stream his running backs, as we see there. They go get Josh Jacobs for me, and then I guess the curse stands because Josh Jacobs got hurt again, and he will not stay healthy. Rob Gronkowski has just ended up on a Florida beach somewhere, it seems like, because he's went from like 1 week questionable to being out multiple weeks. And CD, the thing with CD is he either goes off 1 week or Amari goes off the other week. The Cowboys are just so prolific that they could just pick who's going to score all their points. So that hurts as well. But I will say, team is pretty solid. It's just been underperforming. You do get some help though off your IR, and maybe we'll see that improve your team. But like I said, I think until Patrick Mahomes starts getting back to Patrick Mahomes we know in the past, it's going to be tough to see you running the table at the end of the season. All right. Now, looking at John and Clint and James, you guys are kind of at the bottom of the table. I will say, James, you did scare me a bit going into last week that you were going to pull the upset, but thank you for, I know you let me have that, so I appreciate it. But again, John and Clint, this is the time of year where we trade away and get our draft picks. That's all I will say. I'm not in supporting tanking. Tanking is a no-no in our league, but it's also a acceptable means of improving your team for last year. Look at, if we all remember, Team Tank is now in second place in our standings. So, like I said, I think your top 3 teams in the league, and I'll say that right now, is going to be me at top, Colton second, and then I'm actually going to say it's Jake who can just kill you at any point. Just his team just will put up 140 points when they feel like it. So that's my top 3. All right, let's look at some matchups. And yes, I do know that you probably could tell I am exhausted, but when it comes to being exhausted, the thing about it is you don't just need some, like pistol whip to wake up or something like that. What you really need is a rifle. And speaking of rifles, you need Black Rifle coffee. Oh man, this thing, it gets you going, it's all healthy ingredients. It's just pure caffeinated goodness of coffee. So I got the espresso mocha. And it's already got that 200 milligrams of caffeine. You can get the 300 milligrams option as well. And it gets me ready for work every morning. So go ahead, pick yourself up some Black Rifle coffee. All right. So let's look at some matchups here. So we'll start up with mine. Oh, we got an ad. I know, another ad. So let's watch it. Under Armour is our unofficial sponsor today. Wow, Under Armour, amazing. Okay, so as we look into this, let's see. So I have Andre this week. I will say it is going to be closer than I thought. Andre did go pick up a quarterback. Hopefully Houston, though, is still going to be a dumpster fire against the Rams defense. I did get worried because Zach Ertz is starting to look good with the Cardinals, and that concerns me. And I'm going to be honest as well on my team. As great, like it's a lot of star studs there, DJ Moore has been struggling of late, and not really him, but his quarterback has been struggling as late. So, for both my sake and we'll get to Steven's sake later, let's hope that Sam Darnold stops seeing ghosts and sees an exorcist and he puts up a ton of points this week. But I still feel I'm going to win this week. Stand true. Also, if anybody wants to trade, Darren Waller is on the trade block. That is right. I found a new tight end. So, with that all said, Andre, without Lamar this week, it's going to be tough to see you upset me, but it is close enough that it is possible if my team puts a dud up. All right, moving on. Oh boy, we're getting to Dylan's team early. Well, Dylan, I am going to pick you this week. I know, crazy. Like I said, I think you were going to go 1 for 2 in your next 3 games. You're already 0-1 from last week. I think this will be your win. You are playing John's team, so it's not going to be too crazy to see you pick up the upset. But you do have to be careful because Nick Chubb is back. You do have Jalen Hurts against a Detroit team that hasn't found any footing at all as a team yet. And you do have Brandon Cooks with Tyrod Taylor coming back. We'll see how that matchup works. And it's already a 6-point game without John having a defense. So you better pray. I don't think he did pick up the Vikings defense. So, John, in my opinion, I would stream another defense, but hey, you do you. I don't think they're going to put up any points against the Cowboys. They might get you 1 point, but hey, 1 point's 1 point. You're a defense, man. But looking at Dylan's team, I mean, you just got to think. The running back situation for Dylan has been rough. Like, he's had to go get another Chicago running back after trading for another Chicago running back earlier in the season. I feel like Dylan will just spur in a moment, go pick up whatever tight end scores a touchdown the week before. I'm looking at Knox, Mark Andrews, and now Alec Hawks. So, hey, whatever it is. But I will say Dylan's team with Matthew Stafford and Najee Harris are just going to dominate. So with those two out there, if they keep performing like they have the last few weeks, yeah, it's hard to see Dylan's team losing this matchup. With that said, we'll see how the rest of the season goes. And I'm done. All right, Colton. Colton's my team. Everyone can say I just have a hard on for Colton's team. It is I'm a big fan / not endorsing total team tank strategy from last year. And I think he had the best draft. And I mean, I will say the Kamara trade was great for him as well. Even though he had to give up 2 running backs for it, he's fine because James Conner has just been scoring all the red zone touchdowns for him. So as we look at it, so Colin, you got Josh Allen, who's just balling out of his mind this year. And he's essentially like a quarterback running back, just kind of like Derrick Henry on my team, throws the ball in, catches the ball, and runs the ball. So it's a triple threat. But yeah, James Conner keeps doing what James, getting all the red zone touchdowns, then I mean, it's hard to see your team losing most weeks. I'll also say Calvin Ridley had a down week. He did get the touchdown, but he really needs to start getting more targets. Kyle Pitts has been hurting him. Hopefully, Matt Ryan will remember that he has 2 receivers on his team. I'll say also TJ Hawkinson has been a letdown because I was high on him in one of my other teams, mainly because Jared Goff is a huge tight end person, but Jared Goff is also, it looks like he just got broke by being traded, and now he's just kind of there. So he'll be gone by the end of the season. We'll see how Thielen does. I think Thielen's going to have a day because I think Diggs is going to be traveling with Justin Jefferson. So, I mean, Anthony Brown he's been playing well this year, but I think Thielen's going to eat him up. So, I will say he's going to be one of your high point scorers this week, in my opinion. Now, looking over here at Aaron's team, Aaron, you're going to have Zeke. Zeke is going to get you your 12 to 18 point range, as in he's going to definitely score a touchdown, and he'll probably get anywhere from 80 to 120 yards. Now, it's really going to depend on if he gets 2 touchdowns or if he is really active in the passing game. So we'll see how much Pollard steals on that sense. I think the big thing is we can see you have a couple questionable marks here with your receivers. I know Terry McLaurin, Scary Terry, has been amazing for you this year, but at the same time, if he's questionable, it's going to be interesting. But it does help that Taylor Heineke only throws to Terry half the time. So I will say that was a good pick at the beginning of the draft. Everyone thought you were going to go Ridley, which is interesting. You have him facing up this week, but everyone thought you were crazy. And in hindsight, we're all crazy, and Aaron's the one that actually knows what he's doing at the draft. So next year, I won't say a thing when you make your first round pick. You just do you, boo. But yeah, it does hurt that you don't have Devontae this week. Devontae can singly carry your team to a win when he goes off for the 140 to 200 point game or yard games. It's insane to watch. I will say, and just a side note, Mike Davis has been the biggest bust of fantasy football, in my opinion, this year. Everyone thought he was going to be RB1 over in with the Falcons, and he ended up being RB2 that gets like 5 points on his best weeks. And oh man, it's been brutal in one of my leagues with him. But hey, it's solid to have on the backup because one day he will score a touchdown. We'll see it. Anyway, I will say my projection this week is still going to be with Colton. I think Colton's going to narrowly escape the victory this week, and I'll move him to 6-2 and pretty much clinch his playoff spot. All right. Now, as we go here, I think this is time for James' upset of the week. I know. Hear me out. Patrick Mahomes, he did take a hit, and he's been struggling. And I really think that we've now seen the Chiefs. They're just not the Chiefs this year. They're not going to, I don't even think they're going to make the playoffs, honestly. It's hard in that division. I think they fell behind, and now they're going to try and Patrick Mahomes is going to be the next Carson Wentz. Though I think he has a better chance of fixing himself than Carson Wentz does. Carson Wentz was just shattered because it happened to him twice where he got replaced. But I think Patrick Mahomes, without being replaced, it's more that he's just trying too much to carry the team to victory. And it's leading to turnovers and mistakes that he should know better. So we'll see how it goes the rest of the season. Cordell Patterson, I mean, he came out of nowhere, gets all the touches and everything. But I think that Carolina will bounce back this week with the win against Atlanta. And I think they're going to shut down Cordell in the running game. So I will say, due to some of the matchups you have, and Darren Johnson is about to go back to being the RB2, and then the week after, probably going, if everyone comes back healthy, he'll go back to RB3. So, again, with all that to say, I think you're going to lose this week to James, because James actually has a solid team. Tony Pollard, he'll still put up like 8 to 12 points as the second running back in Dallas. I think Gibson, if healthy, I mean, he gets plenty of touches. The problem is he's not getting the red zone touches, but he'll pop off one here and there. And he's like up against the Denver team, which they've been average against the run. They haven't been great, haven't been terrible. They're just kind of middle of the pack. And then Ryan Tannehill has found himself of late. He's going up against an Indianapolis team that has had the ball thrown on them quite a bit this year. So I will say, uh, and that Colts team also lost some secondary members this last week. So look out for that. Look out for Julio to finally put up his big game of the season. I'm calling that right now. Tannehill and Julio are going to go off this week. And then I love the Gainwell pickup because Philly is going to run the ball down Detroit's throat because Detroit won't be able to do much about it. So get ready for that as well. Now, again, looking at James Dean, he's had a very unfortunate season with, terrible draft and just all of these guys being either bust or hurt. So that's been rough. But again, I'm calling the upset. Let's go, James. Don't let me down. Big Dad's watching. All right. Clint and Hayden. All right. Well, this one I think is pretty self-explanatory. But it is going to be closer than we think. But I am still going to go with Hayden's team. It's hard to see him losing. Dak's healthy. Ignore the questionable mark next to him. That's just people freaking out. It's just like the shoulder in the preseason. Everyone wants to make a story, like Dak said in the press conference. It gives people to talk about. Dalvin Cook. Now, I will say the Cowboys' run defense, everyone thinks is great or good because it's been, it's like 15th area in the league. But we got to also remember that the Buccaneers didn't even run against them, and most teams fall behind that they aren't able to run on them. I think that'll be different this week in Minnesota. Minnesota, actually, just as a side thing, I think we should be on upset alert. We should go in very cautious and make sure that we don't let our foot off the gas and start just putting up points the entire first half. Because if we let it stay close, Dalvin Cook can get going, it's going to be tough to see us holding out against that team because they actually have a really deadly receiver core and a really good running back. So their offense is underrated for sure. Darrell Williams, he's about to tear up on the Giants. And then, Mike Evans has had a pretty good year compared to last year, especially. Tyreek Hill, I really want to say that Tyreek, Travis, and Mahomes, like every time I see them, I'm like, oh man, they're going to have a week, especially against like the lowly Giants. But at the same time, it's like they haven't. They've let you down. So I just can't bet on it. Corey Davis still starting. Without Zach Wilson, I really don't think we're going to be passing the ball to the receivers that much. It's going to be more of a running game this week. But hey, you rock with it. I would go probably Cole Beasley there if it was me. Cole at least gets a lot of catches and, he'll get his third down touches. So he'll get you at least like 8 points, which is solid for a flex. And then looking at Clint's team, Jonathan Taylor could have a really good week, but I will say Tennessee's run defense is underrated. I think it's their pass defense is what people need to target, but Tennessee I think they play solid on the run, mainly because they're blitzing a lot. Kyler Murray's going to go off, and that's where you got to be careful, Hayden, because if Kyler goes off and Jonathan Taylor go off and Collins has a decent week against Jacksonville, that's where the upset chance stands. But again, we'll see how it goes. I don't really think Robert Tonyan is going to have the year he had last year. Mike Williams has stolen a lot from Keenan Allen this season and touches. Deontay Johnson has a mummy that's 2,000 years old trying to throw the ball to him, and that's been rough. And Robert Woods is just like Keenan Allen, where he has all the touches going to the other receiver. But is a good defensive ticket with Rams against Houston. So definitely see that. So this one is on upset alert, but I will say I think Hayden's going to hold on. And finally, to end it out, we have Bishop Sycamore with Steven versus the Brady Bunch with Jake. This matchup is going to be the one to watch this week. I am excited. It's going to be a just point system because keep in mind, Steven is at 90. He has not put in his quarterback. And that's actually how it's going to go out to. Oh, because the trade hasn't gone through yet. But Steven, if you guys saw last night, finally traded for a quarterback. So it's going to be really interesting to see how this turns out. Again, he's not starting Waddle. He will ignore me till I die and I will get blue in the face. But hey, that's him. I'm telling you though, Stephen, you need to put Waddle in over AJ Brown. I know last week he had his week. It's gonna be a mirage. You're gonna regret it. It's all the touches are going to Julio this week, I promise. But anyway, once he gets a quarterback in, it's going to be a very 50-50 matchup. And this, I will expect both teams to be over 110 points at the end of the week. And it's going to come down to if Sam Darnold can play quarterback. That will be the question. So why do the Panthers figure out if their team is good? We're going to see if Steven's team is good. So I am going to pick Steven's team on the upset this week. And I say upset, even though their records are like right next to each other, just because Jake's team has been on fire of late. And now they're projected 105 points because Tom Brady has murdering everybody in his revenge season number 2. Because yeah, it's great to watch. It's a good time to be alive. Eckler is back healthy and everything after the bye week, so it'll be good for them. Chuba Hubbard has been the game changer because without that, I mean, you lose Hubbard in probably like 2 weeks, 3 weeks, maybe whenever McCaffrey comes back. And then he's also lost CEH. So that's where he's going to have to place that production he's getting from the Panthers running back. But Jamar Chase has also been balling and carrying this team like the insane point totals. So as long as Chase and Pitts and Mike Williams, like that receiver core right there is just deadly. So again, Jake is the team I do not want to go up against in the playoffs until the very end, but it looks like it might happen. So again, Steven, I think you're going to get the upset this week, but I do think Jake is going to try to run the table after that, and he will definitely be in the playoffs. So we'll be ready for that. All right. Well, guys, thank you for joining this podcast. I'm looking forward to the matchups this week. And it's always trade blocks coming up. So go ahead and make some trades, look at teams, set your preferences on who's available, who's not available. And I'll see you guys next week. Go bold.